So hello there and welcome to Boxing Media Hub. We're proudly in partnership with Falcon Contracting and Jam's Boxing Chats. And we're here for a very special fight. We've got Terence Bud Crawford versus Israil Madrimov. It's at 154. It's a very, very big fight coming from the United States, LA. It's on August 3rd at the BMO Arena or the BMO Stadium. And I've got a lovely panel with me. From right to left, I've got Mr. Neutral's Corner Boxing, or Mr. Neutral as he's now known. I've got Håkan Johansson from Sweden. I've got Mr. Rahokam from Punch Out Boxing. We've got SWS Boxing Sam. Thank you so much for joining, my man. We've got Alex Sankey all the way from the States. We've got Mr. Darren Aston, Birmingham's finest. And we've got the man of the moment, Jack the Punk Kid Hughes. How are you, geezers?
All good, mate.
Thank you. Doing pretty good.
Really good, mate. Really good. Really good. Really excited for this fight this weekend. It's going to be huge. It's going to be an absolute barnstormer for as long as it lasts. So what we'll do, lads, we'll just go round the room from I'll start it and we'll go round the room and we'll just give our predictions on this fight. So we've got Bud, who's 40-0-0. He's got 31 knockouts. The man knocks out most of the people put in front of him. He's an absolute phenomenon. We all know that. But he is fighting a very, very tough operator here in Israil Madrimov. People are sleeping on Madrimov. People are thinking this is just another Bud walkover. This ain't no Bud walkover. Madrimov was an accomplished amateur. He had 97 fights. He won 79 of them for Uzbekistan. He's a very, very slick, accomplished boxer. He was last out himself against Kurbanov, Magomedov Kurbanov, which he won, which was quite a shock to a few. Bud was last out, obviously, against Errol Spence Jr. a year ago yesterday. So, Bud, that's my only problem with him, is that he does take these long layoffs. And I don't like that in elite boxers because it's, I don't know, it just doesn't sit right with me. But my prediction for this fight, just to get this one done, I'm going to go Bud to win, but there's going to be some tricky and slippery moments in there for him. And I think Madrimov puts it on him at times. At the 154 weight, it's not going to be easy, but I'm going to go Bud to win. So that's my prediction. Mr. Neutral, what's your thoughts on this one, sir?
Great fight. Great fight. Thanks, James, for having me on representing iBoxing Hub here tonight. Pleasure. But I must be the only man in the world, certainly on Twitter, who's actually backing Madrimov for this fight. I just think stylistically he's all wrong for Bud. And for me, it's going to be a painful night for the American. His bubble's going to be bust. It's a bridge too far, as they say, in certain aspects of boxing. For me, a lightweight coming up from all the way to 154. Yes, he's done well. Yes, he's knocked out 9 of his last opponents. But for me, they're not in the Madrimov league of a Uzbeki hardmen of boxing. This guy's a boiled down middleweight. He's been a middleweight for most of his amateur career. So this guy's dangerous, and he's all wrong. So I'm going for a Madrimov knockout. I've got money on it, and I pray to the boxing gods that it comes my way.
Good, man. Thank you, Mr. Neutral. Appreciate that, mate. And I'm glad someone else is giving Madrimov his props because that man deserves it. Believe me, this is going to be no walkover. Thank you so much, sir. Håkan Johansson, all the way from Sweden. Thank you for joining, my brother. What's your breakdown and thoughts on this one?
Thank you. I think Terence Crawford wins on late stoppage, round 9.
Round 9.
But I'm concerned. Are not the right word, but the ticket sales has been a disaster for this event. And now Ticketmaster sells with 50% off.
Oh, my God. You'd think it would have sold out in minutes, wouldn't you?
No, there's loads of tickets left.
That's
so
terrible.
they are in panic to sell tickets now. And Golden Boy and the other had 50% off through them last week, but now it's 50% off the price.
Wow. But your prediction is Bud knockout in round 9, Hawkham. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for that, mate. Mr. Hocum, thank you for joining, my man. Punch Out Boxing's Raw Hocum, the roving traveller. He goes to Saudi. He goes all around the world to cover boxing. So big up, Raw. What's your thoughts on this one, sir?
I only go travelling to top up the tan, but you know, I'm a big fan of Bud Crawford, but I'm under no illusions, as he said, what this guy is. You know, them former Soviet athletes, they're sort of handpicked from childhood for their physical traits. I do think that Bud's exceptional ring IQ is what will tell here. Madrimov, yeah, he's technically exceptional, but he's very textbook. So I don't think stylistically he'll bring anything Bud hasn't seen before. But I do see quite early on Bud realizing that the physicality of the man is something to be reckoned with, and he'll have to adjust to that, and probably box a lot more cautiously than we've seen him. But I think because of Bud's creative IQ, he will be able to work it out. And from what a lot of people who've sparred with Bud say, that with his wrestling background, he's exceptionally strong as well. So I think that is why he is more able to move through the weights than other fighters, as well as his ring IQ. So I'm going for a Bud Crawford on points. I think the physical size of Madrimov will be too much for him to get him out of there. So I'm going Bud Crawford on points. I don't think there'll be any controversy about it, but I think it'll be a hard-earned points win for Terence Bud Crawford.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Mr. Hocum. SW Boxing's, SW Fight Hub, Sam Walker. How are you, matey? Thank you for joining
us. I'm doing well, Jam. How are you, sir? Thanks for having me on.
That's my absolute pleasure, mate. Break this one down for us. How are you seeing this one go?
Yeah, but I cannot wait for it, first of all. What a fight. I commend Terence Crawford for taking it in his 154-pound debut. I think, you know, the far easier matchups out there. I can see why he did it. You know, he was Dimitri Bivol's lead sparring partner, Madrimov, for the Canelo Alvarez schooling. So there is pieces in the jigsaw for me and the reason why he's taken this fight. I think, first off, I'll get it out there. I think Terence Crawford wins the fight. I think Madrimov's going to have to start very quickly and get Crawford's respect early, because later on in the fights, we've seen Crawford's got multiple late stoppages, you know, Spence, Sean Porter, Benavidez. I think he stopped in the last round as well. But I do worry about his inactivity, like you said, Jam, and also the talk of the Canelo fight. And, you know, he's got Turkey's back and now he's finally free to, you know, earn all this money. We've seen that play out in the past with boxers, and sometimes, you know, looking ahead of what's right in front of you, square in your face, is difficult. And like you all said previously, guys, you know, the physicality of Israil Madrimov, you know, Neutral said he's been a career middleweight, you know, he is going to be huge next to Crawford. So for me, if Madrimov can't get his respect early, it's game over. I think Terence Crawford wins a 8-4-ish kind of decision in the end, after going through some adversity and potentially being dropped.
Lovely. Thank you, Sam, mate. That's a great prediction, to be fair. That's not too far away from where I'm sitting, to be quite honest. Because Madrimov, his problem is he does cross his legs. If you notice, when he throws his shots, he tends to cross the legs and he, like, buckles himself. And that's where Bud's going to catch him, for me. And that's the only worry. That's why I think there might be a knockdown or two. Alex Sankey, you're up next, my man. What's your thoughts on this fight?
Well, much like the other gentleman, I have Bud Crawford winning. I have it by a points decision, but it will be unanimous, and I think it'll be 8-4 in favor of Terence Bud Crawford. I watched a lot of Kurbanov's fights. I watched Kurbanov versus Madrimov's fight, and I noticed that Madrimov, he just keeps, whenever he loads up that right hand, he had that really weird spring where he tried to leap forward like he does for his left hook, and he threw himself all out of whack. And if you do that against lesser level competition, you're probably going to make the same mistake against an elite mover in Bud Crawford. So Crawford's going to take the angle and he's going to fire a left hook. That'll probably knock Madrimov down, but he won't knock him out. He's too big to get knocked out.
Yeah, I'd agree, Alex. Thank you so much, mate. Again, good analysis, mate. Appreciate you joining us. Love the belt, by the way. That's why it's Alex the Great. Yeah. Mr. Aston, thank you for joining us, matey. What's your thoughts on this one?
No problem, mate. Great to be back on. I think it was you that said earlier that when the fight was announced, like, people were like sleeping on Madrimov a little bit. I think as the fight's getting nearer and nearer, he's starting to get people's attention a little bit more. I think they're both brilliant technicians. I think it was Sam as well that said about Crawford's inactivity. I'm not so concerned about that because I think it's just what Crawford does. And I think he's done it before and he's come back and won fights where he has been inactive. I think it's a brilliant, brilliant fight. I think it's going to be very, very close. But I think Terence Crawford's just about going to have the edge slightly over Madrimov. But I think it's going to be it's his toughest fight to date. And I think he'll just about get over the line on a very, very close points decision for Crawford.
Fair enough. Thank you, Darren, mate. Jack the Pumpkin. Pumpkin? Bloody hell, I can't even say it properly. Jack the Punk Kid Hughes. What's your thoughts on this one, sir, as a professional boxer yourself? How do you see this one going? Break it down for us.
So, obviously, I just want to throw it out there that I don't really know much about this Madrimov fella.
Yeah.
But obviously, because you wanted me to come on, I did look into him a little bit. And I watched his fight against Eric Walker during lockdown. I do take into account that this fight was 4 years ago as well. Mate, honestly, I watched it and I could not believe the hype. Like, genuinely, I couldn't believe what I was watching. Like, I thought his footwork was awful. I thought there was no kind of game plan coming in. He was just throwing wild overhands and hoping for the best. There was no jab. There was no feints. He faded pretty bad late on in the. He did drop him in the 12th, to be fair to him, but he did fade as well. And Eric Walker was picking up rounds late on. And as I was watching, I was just I think Crawford absolutely sleeps this guy, and it wouldn't even shock me if it was early in the fight. I just thought this guy is all wrong for Crawford, and then I had to look at his record just to think maybe it was an off night or something, but he's not really been tested, in my opinion. He's not fought anyone. He won a vacant world title, and the guy he beat for the vacant world title, yeah, okay, he was 25-0, but I had a look at his record, and he had never been in there with anyone either. I genuinely think the only hope this guy has is it's just a step too far in weight, and Crawford may struggle early, but I genuinely think Crawford puts this guy out cold, and it could be early, it could be mid, it could be late. Like, it wouldn't shock me if it come at any moment.
Fair play.
Didn't Kurbanov beat Liam Smith?
Sorry?
Didn't Kurbanov beat Liam Smith?
He did,
Yeah.
but it was a robbery. Liam won that fight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Liam
yeah.
definitely won that
Oh,
fight.
that's so convenient.
But
So
Kurbanov, though,
convenient.
Kurbanov was a tough operator. Magomed Kurbanov is a good fighter. I've watched a lot of his amateur stuff. He was a very slick operator himself. Like, it was a big shock when Israil Madrimov beat him in that fight.
And
Like,
easily.
His record was padded, very well padded. You know what I mean? But he done a right job on Kurbanov. He really did. Knocked him out in the 5th round. I did a live watch along with Joel for it. And it was a masterclass from Israil Madrimov. He'd stopped doing all that stuff where he buckles his legs together when he throws the punches, like almost tripping himself up, like, you know what I mean? He seemed to correct his faults in that fight for me. So I think if he fights like that...
Sorry, mate, if you look at him now, he's very much taken, since he's done sparring with Bevel, he's got very much a wider stance. He's bouncing on his toes. He's in and out.
Yeah, he's not tripping himself up anymore.
Yeah, I know he's saying about the bad footwork in the past, but if you've seen his footwork training video, they're very impressive.
Yeah, he's definitely looking a bit better.
The one thing that I said in my section that, look, you know, I think this is going to be Crawford's toughest fight today, but let's make no bones about it. It's by far Madrimov's toughest fight today as well.
Without a doubt.
100%.
Without a doubt. It goes both
without a
ways.
shadow of a doubt.
Yep.
Well, we've got Serhan Dai joined us now. He was a couple of minutes late, so we didn't get to introduce him. But Serhan Dai does some write-ups for an American sports channel. What's your channel called, Serhan?
Can't hear you.
Mic's off.
I think your mic's off, Serhan. Press the mute button, mate. The mic button. I think you've been muted.
Yeah, he's muted.
On the YouTube screen, if you go to you got more Cam mic. Go to the mic bit.
He's on it.
Has he figured it out?
No.
He's
We got some technical difficulties.
He'll figure it out in a minute. He's quite new to the podcast game, so he's been doing some write-ups, some really good stuff. If you get a chance, read them. I can't remember the name of the company, but if you just check Sir Handai, he does some really good write-ups on local fights and like local to him fights in America. And he even done one on Chisora Joyce the other day as well, which was a really good read. But I tell you what, while Sir Hand figures his mic out, let me read a couple of comments that have came in. Chris Welch, big up for joining, sir. He said Madrimov is a really good fighter. Unfortunately for him, Crawford is in the tier above him, and that will show, in my opinion. Big balls to Madrimov for taking it. Levels will be shown in the end. And then he said Crawford, 7th round is my prediction. I'm not interested in Canelo versus Crawford. It's a money fantasy fight. We have weight divisions for a reason. Crawford moving up 2 weight divisions for money shouldn't be happening. Fight at own weight. Yeah, that's true. Canelo would be and should be huge favourite. He's more natural at super mid. Of course, mate, at 168, you're going to fancy Canelo. I'd rather Crawford takes all the belts at super welter to add to that incredible resume.
Do you think he could go undisputed at super welterweight?
If anyone could, he could. But I don't know, mate.
Yes.
The issue for Crawford at super welterweight and the stage he's at in his career, he's after big money fights. He's 35, 36. There's no huge
37
for him, 37. There's no big money spinners for him at 154, apart from Boots if he moves up. But
yeah, I won't
he
want to
can, but
Boots at the
I
moment.
think he can unify, but he won't. I think he will, as SWS Boxing quite rightly said.
Yeah.
I've got a question. Question for all of you esteemed gents. How do you think Madrimov does against the other big hitters of the 154 division? So Fundora, Zoo, Ortiz Jr.
I think
How does Madrimov do? So we're saying Madrimov's actually, Bud aside, the best 154 in the world.
I'd say so, yeah. He definitely beats Fundora.
Yeah,
Fundora shouldn't even be
Who might give him a tougher test, but
it's hard to say. But on Saturday night we have the answer. I think
that's
very true.
I'm just going to read this last comment, lads. DJ Pat joining us all the way from Sweden. Big up to yourself, sir. Going for an upset here. All think that Bud win. I am not sure of that. Madrimov has tools, and that can give Crawford trouble. So I'm going split decision to Madrimov. So neutral, you've got a backer, mate.
I've got a
if
fan.
it goes to split decision, it's not going to go to Madrimov. Crawford's the star. He's got the
Turkey's not going to let that happen.
No, in LA. Mind you, it's a long way from Omaha.
Javik said, good evening, lads. Hope you're all doing well. We're good, thanks, Jav. Thank you for joining. SMS Digital, what's the call-in number? Oh, sorry, mate. It's not that type of panel show. We'll maybe do that in the future. If we do, mate, we'll put the number in there. But thank you for joining. MB, Crawford, 11-round TKO. Thank you so much for joining, sir. Hit that subscribe button, guys, if you've not already. We appreciate y'all. Russ Morgan, evening, everyone. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you for coming through. He's talking about ticket sales. I'm talking Madrimov getting his block knocked off. Fair play, SMS Digital. We're not the same. Well, no one's the same, mate. Every person is individual. Madrimov getting knocked out, period. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Carl Widow's joined. Good evening, Carl Mesa. Thank you for coming through. People are sleeping on Madrimov for me. Yeah, I said the same thing at the start of the show, my brother. Jabit Boxing, I'm edging towards Madrimov. So another one, neutral. You're starting to get some backers here, brother.
Come on, neutral. What you had on here? Tell us what your bet is.
What is Alex the Great holding the belt for? Because he's a champion.
Do you know what?
He's the champ. He's the champ.
I decided
said easy work for Crawford. There's no way Madrimov wins, says Sammy at SWS Boxing.
I opened the door.
Hang on, what's your bet, neutral? Come on, tell us.
I opened the door.
250 quid you put on, didn't you, bro?
I've got $280 worth of bets.
Really?
And do you know what I've done? I've given away $1,700 because for me to win, Madrimov has to knock him out, has to stop him.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
So I'm expecting. Don't you worry. I've got a master plan. I'm going to lay it off on Crawford for a knockout at minus 135.
I haven't actually seen the odds. I haven't. What are you getting on Madrimov?
The dent won't be too much.
Massive favourite.
I think it's
said, behave. Crawford will smoke him. So you get told off by a 15-year-old Mr. Neutral.
But look, it's all fun. It's all fun, and if it brings the Twitter community boxing
Neutral
community
endorsing gambling is
together.
disgusting, laugh out loud.
Yeah, I know.
It's all good.
If it brings us all together and have some fun, why not? I'll
That's
get
it,
it
matey,
back
that's
another
it.
time.
Well,
I'm
like
gonna
I
have a
said,
look at the odds
Neutral, I
after.
lost 100 quid to bloody Jack Alter
I'll
on
tell
the
you what,
Fury
Crawford,
Usyk fight.
the
Devastating. That was to lose
Madrimov
to that
knockout
bell end.
is I think it's around 30 to 1.
Really?
Just check that out.
Oof.
Yeah, it was like minus 1,700 or something, weren't it? In the American like bettings.
Yeah,
So that's
it's
worked out
something.
about right.
You're looking at nearly 1 to 2 on for a Crawford knockout, which
Yeah.
is ridiculous odds.
Sammy at SWS is saying Crawford is 6. Jabs is saying not as bad as Alex the Great, endorsing Prime, drinking it live. Are you drinking Prime there, Alex? He is.
Oh dear!
I didn't even notice.
Isn't that-
I didn't even notice.
I believe that's like kerosene and diesel mixed together.
8 to 1 for
fortunately, I
Madrimov
have
KO.
liver,
Now he's
so
saying
I'm good.
Madrimov KO ain't knocking anyone out.
8 to 1 for the KO or TKO, Madrimov.
I was
Yeah,
at
I
8
think
to
he's
1.
got
Well,
it
that's
in him.
dropped dramatically. Then that is
8 to
dropped
1, yeah.
dramatically.
Alex, this one's for you, brother. He says, do a stone cold, Alex, and get a real drink, brother.
Where's my flask?
8 to
He's
1.
going to
My
now. And
goodness.
King Sukana, thank you for joining us, mate. Hit that subscribe button if you don't already. He's saying Madrimov stops Bud. Mate, it wouldn't surprise me that much. People are sleeping on him, honestly.
The people are speaking.
Big up the king. Sir Handayi, can you hear me, mate? Have you got it sorted yet? All you've got to do, mate, is press the mic button on the left-hand side of the screen.
Need to send some instructions next time, Jam.
That's it, man. I have to start sending out
He's
instructions.
using that
No, me
Elon
and
Musk
Sirhan do a show every
Starlink.
week. He knows how this works.
Oh,
King
Oh,
Sukhan
wait,
is joined us again. 37, inactive, gets hit clean. Biggest punch shot is going to stop him. SWS Fox says behave, King. Wow.
SWS.
What do we say? Sirhan, can we hear you now, my man?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
he's
we
on.
can hear you, Sirhan.
Yay.
There you go,
Final
brother.
prediction.
What's going on, Jim?
I'm good, matey. I'm good. Thank you for joining, mate. Shame about the technical problems. But yeah, give us your quick breakdown, my man.
Hey, Neutral, be prepared to be broke. I'll just tell you that much after your bet. And,
I'm broke all the time anyway. What's the difference?
That's it, mate. What's another day, Neutral? We're all the same. We're all the same. Go on then, Sirhan. Break it down for us.
I'm gonna. I told Sam I'm gonna go exactly what Sam Walker said, word for word, because he and I discussed this the other day. The exact same thing. It comes down to one simple. I saw the footage of Madrimov, and I agree with what you said, Jam. That this guy's footwork is not the greatest in the world. He also telegraphs his punches not too great, and that's a sort of style fits Crawford's nature. I think he figures him out and finds a way to get an 8-4 decision win.
Lovely. That's a good shout, mate. That's a good shout. Just going to go for a couple of comments. King Sakuna answering SWS Boxing saying it's 37, man. We've seen this before. Yes, we indeed have, King. Thank you. Carl Widow saying it's all downhill now, Sirhan. Laugh out loud. King Sakuna, it's his second fight outside of the top-ranked stable. No more washed-up welterweights. Whose prime was in 2000? His prime was in 2010.
I got a
SWS
question for
Boxing,
Sirhan.
Team Bud, and then Carl Widow said Eddie says Madrimov will win, so it must be true. Eddie never tells lies. Eddie never lies. He never lies.
Do you know what's funny here, James? Madrimov shouldn't be known in the US of A, because in his 11 fights, this will be his 8th fight in the US of A. You know that? He's only fought twice in Uzbekistan and once in Riyadh. Every other time he's fought in the US. It beggars belief that the US audience don't know this guy, especially as he won his Intercontinental
when he
belt.
was WBC champion. They didn't even know who Deontay Wilder was, most Americans.
True, that.
Yeah, so they've got no excuses.
Said, Who's
they've
this?
got
And they didn't have
no
a clue.
excuses when Madrimov does the business on Saturday night and stops the aging, inactive Terence Crawford, and his bubble's going to be busted.
You're doing the live Neutral.
I respect the confidence.
Yes, sir.
I'm coming on.
SWS Boxing said he does though, don't he? And then he said this ain't going to be close. And then Mr. Widows jumped in again and said Crawford has had loads of fights in the US. Only hardcore know him, and that's true as well. Like outside the hardcore, they don't even know Bud in America. A lot of people.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, and look at the ticket sales as I told you.
Orkan just said ticket sales. You know.
Yeah, the ticket he's barely sold any. I've seen it's all empty.
When you
all
look
the
at
way
some of the
around
fights,
outside.
you know, I mean, even their next up and coming heavyweight, Jared Anderson's on it. Andy Ruiz is back.
Yeah,
and they're still
Pitbull Cruz.
Yeah,
600
Pitbull
pounds.
Cruz, and they still can't sell the tickets.
Turkey's
One of the
giving
best
away a
cards America's
car.
ever had, in my opinion.
Not yet.
but
Turkey's giving away a car.
The Americans do traditionally wait for the price reductions. Yeah.
Well,
and
you've got to
then
this day and age, haven't you, when everyone's broke. Got to win where.
Is it a card for the hardcore fans, though? You know, realistically, yes. If Crawford was fighting another huge name in America, you know, like when he fought Spence, or maybe not as big as Spence, but obviously, as Neutral said, Madrimov's fought most of his career in America, and he's not really known there. You know, yes, Jared Anderson, up and coming heavyweight. You know, he's fighting Martin Bacoli. You know, Andy Ruiz, he's been inactive, and you know he hasn't really lived on since the AJ fight. You know. Is it a card for the hardcore fans rather than the casual audience?
It's more for the casuals, mate, to be fair, because outside of the main event, no one really knows them, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like Andy Cruz has never been, he's only had 3 fights or whatever. Moran, you barely know of unless you're a hardcore fan, but the rest of them...
I think what it means is hardcore competitive.
Outside of Mexican Americans.
Yeah. It's hardcore competitive. You've got a unification fight. You've got David Morrell fighting. You got Pitbull Cruz fighting a championship fight. For me, it's a stacked hardcore card.
I love it. I love the card
because you get the clues where 175's going, where 154's going, where 140's going with Pitbull Cruz. For me, Pitbull Cruz is probably, and again, I'm going to get slayed for this. For me, he's the best 140 pounder right now.
Yeah, you've said this before, Neutral. You've said it before.
I have, because Tank could knock him out 135 pounds. The way he won his belt was outstanding against Rowley. I know Rowley's, not considered a great boxer, but his record stands out.
Yeah, did you see the announcement earlier of Bud Shakur for next year, early next year? Has everyone seen that?
Well,
the Tank Shakur.
Shakur Tank, yeah. The Americans, boxing media are not happy about it. They're all calling it fake because an English Colin McGregor reporter for the IFL TV
reported it earlier as well.
Yeah, so they're better that they haven't got first dibs on the story, so they're calling bullshit. But that's just them.
Well, King Sakuna said it might be close if Bud doesn't go to sleep after the first few solid punches. Carl Widow. Oh no, hold on. Just jumped a load of comments there. I don't even know how that happened. Let's go back. Bloody hell. Right, Alex, put the belt down. Says Carl Widow. Don't do it, mate. Don't do it. Don't give in to Carl.
Never.
Keep showing your belt, my brother. Crawford gets hit clean too much. Crawford is the best, says SWS. No one is beating him. Welter or super, says SWS. American fighters need some Eddie Stardust. Look at the profile if he beats now. Eddie is part of the team. Easy win, Crawford. It's not close, lads. Neutral must be in space when you've got Ruiz versus Miller. Who you got, Ruiz versus Miller?
Ruiz.
Yeah, he's got Ruiz all day long.
Ruiz, see, I'm not that mad. I think Ruiz will knock out myself for TK.
Yeah, I'm the same on that. Very expensive card if it is aimed at hardcores. The card is designed to get Americans back interested in boxing.
We don't look like it.
Back interest. You can't know. The interest has always been there. They've just been outpriced. $80.
Saying that, and I think he's talking about the Shakur tank. They said it's not real. And then, okay, fuel neutral, says that SWS Boxing, because you took Andy Ruiz. Right, well, lads, on that note, we've all gave our predictions. Thank you so much for joining me. We've been half an hour, so that's 5 minutes apiece. I appreciate every single one of you. Check out Neutral. He does hard talk on iBoxing Hub. Håkan Johansson, you'll find him everywhere. Just check out @Johansson and you'll find Håkan. Ra Hokum is Punch Out Boxing. We've got Sam Walker, which is SW Fight Hub. We've got Alex Sankey, Alex the Great. You can find him on social media. We've got Aston Darren, if you want to type it into X to follow him. He always got great boxing talk. He also does Last Bell Boxing with Carl, who's in the chat. So be sure to check that out. And he does STBX with Steve Spevik. We've got Jack the Pug Punk Kid Hughes. I will get this right one day, Jack. And he's a professional boxer. You can find him absolutely everywhere.
Big
Google
up,
him, watch
Jack.
his fights. The guy's an absolute legend. And you've got Serhan Dayi, who does the Boxing Media Hub Boxing Hour with me every Thursday at 5 p.m. UK, 12 p.m. Eastern Time USA. Be sure to check that out. I appreciate every single one of you. Thanks for coming through, and we'll see you all soon.
Peace.
Peace.